Welcome to Cook to Nourish. Today I'm going to show you how to make bone soup or bone broth. Now I have been drinking bone broth regularly for the past 2 years. I somehow never thought of posting that recipe because it's so easy. I used to use a slow cooker first, and now I've started making it in the instant pot. But now, since I have started practicing nutritional therapy, many of my patients or clients will ask me, how do I make a bone broth? And they'll ask, can I get it from the store like Whole Foods organic bone broth? And I tell them that well, if they really don't have the time, or really cannot make it at home, then getting it from the store would be next best. But I highly recommend that they try making homemade bone broth, because that is always the best. And it's really very easy to make. I use either beef bones or goat bones or chicken bones for making this. And I used to use a slow cooker before, but now I use the instant pot, since it's so much easier and faster with the instant pot. And the other thing I wanted to tell you or talk to you about was, why is bone broth so important? Right, bone broth is very nutritious because it has a lot of the essential amino acids, like glycine, L-glutamine, etc., which help in the healing of your gut. So bone broth is highly recommended for those individuals who are trying to heal a chronic condition like autoimmune disease. And it is also recommended for people who have been in general sick with for example, have an acute infection and are just recuperating from it. Bone broth is great because it has all these vitamins, minerals that give the body what it needs to, and build up the immune system to fight the infection. It's also great for people who have just finished chemotherapy and are just trying to regain their strength back. So all in all, it's a great nourishing food for everybody in general. In general, bone broth has also collagen or gelatin, which is coming from the connective tissue of the bones, and that helps in healing the joints and reducing the inflammation in the joints. So it's really great for people with any kind of inflammation and arthritis of the joints. And bone broth is great, because of the collagen and all the other additional minerals. It's great for your hair, for your nails, and your skin. So all in all, it's a great nourishing food. All right, so let's get started.
So to begin with, I roasted beef bones um, in an oven at 400 degrees for 30 minutes, and as you can see, they've roasted well, and there is all this fat that has come out of them when I roasted them. So you can do one of two things. Either you can add the bones along with this fat and the marrow into the pot, or you could separate out the fat and the marrow before adding the bones. But I like to add it all. And now I'm adding about 8 cups of water to the insert pot along with the bones. And for flavor, I'm adding chopped fresh ginger that I've finely chopped. And I'm also going to add some vegetables, that is onion. I have one medium onion, one large carrot, and two celery stalks, all chopped, as you can see. And next, I'm going to add some sea salt. So for this amount of soup, I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of sea salt. I'm using Himalayan pink, but you could use any sea salt. And then for flavors, I use different things different times. Now I'm going to add bay leaves, but essentially I use whole spices like the Indian spices, black pepper, cloves, cinnamon. And next, apple cider vinegar, about a tablespoon. Now this, it is said, that helps to leach out the minerals from the bone. bones. So I add only about a tablespoon, and that doesn't change, doesn't make it like too vinegary or anything. But some people say that they even avoid the apple cider vinegar. Uh, but I see no reason to avoid it. And now, after giving it a quick stir, I'm going to close the lid of the Instant Pot. Yeah, okay, and there, make sure the a valve is in the sealing position, and here different more makes may have different things, but here I press on the soup or broth function, and it gives me the 2 hour, it says 2 hour pressure. So if you don't have that function, you could just manually press the or change the hours so that you have it set to 2 hours at normal pressure. And yeah, make sure the valve is in the sealing position. And after about, I think, 2.5 hours now, the valve has gone down, and that's when I open the lid. And so in my case now, because I use these beef bones, there is marrow in them. So I'm going to, collect these bones, take these bones out first, get the marrow out of them. And another interesting thing about these bones is that you can actually use them twice. So because this is the first time I was using these bones, I'm going to actually freeze them and use it one more time to make another batch of bone broth. So you can really get a lot out of one batch. And now I'm just going to use like a knife and get the marrow out, which I find quite delicious. And so you can again do, one of two things. As I said before, you can keep the marrow separate and eat it separate, or you can just add it to the entire stock or the soup here and call it as soup and have everything together along with the vegetables that are left. But if you want to have a clear broth, then you need to keep this separate, the marrow, and then just filter all the vegetables out to get a clear broth. But I like to have mine like this so that I get a little bit of the vegetables as well as the marrow in my broth, and I just save them in individual small containers like these and freeze them and then just pull them out, one at a time, and keep them in the refrigerator and then use it for a couple of days. So you can strain them to get clear broth. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.